Does anyone here in the audience would like to speak on Senate Bill 178 or Senate Bill 424? Anybody have an interest in those two bills? Okay. Representative Jurgensen, you're in a position to present Senate Bill 178. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last year we did hear this bill, and it was actually given to a subcommittee that Representative Tumlin and I heard, and it's an interesting bill. There's several companies in the state that ship extremely fragile medications to patients, things like growth hormone and biologicals, basically, that are very unique and rare. And if you look on page 2, on line 3 and 4, you can see this is a very narrow bill. Subscription drugs have an annual retail value to the patient of more than $6,000. These are very expensive, exotic type medications. And what this bill would allow is to allow the shipping of these drugs via expedited overnight common carrier and designees directly to the patient. And that's basically the bill in a nutshell. It has some very specific temperature tags and temperature strips, insulated packaging that these things have to be packaged with. So that's basically the bill in a nutshell.
Okay. Representative Shaw.
Yes, are these not available through the local pharmacists?
No, they are not.
That's what I thought I remembered last year.
Right.
It was only the ones basically we're talking about that they can't get locally. They have to ship them in also.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Who? Representative Quinn.
Ferguson, excuse me, Jurgensen. Was there any discussion when y'all met about nuclear pharmaceuticals?
No, we did not talk about nuclear pharmaceuticals.
Would it prohibit nuclear pharmaceuticals?
There is a provision for them.
Where, do you see that?
Yeah, something about, when I read it, there's
I don't know that it would prevent any particular.
I have one in my district and don't want to have any more restrictions on it than it already has. So
Right. I believe the
can
only.
y'all help me find that? It allows them to do it, right? I would like that.
Yeah. The only thing that it prevents is that the annual retail value to a patient is more than $6,000. And that.
There's no restrictions specifically then, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Like to make a recommendation at the proper time. Or a motion ready?
Not yet. Representative Dixon, you're recognized.
I just wanted to make sure on page 2, Sean, line 16, where it starts subsection, I guess that's B.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it looks like that was originally part of another sentence, and I'm not sure that the way it's worded right now that it flows or makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that's certainly existing code. Let's see here.
I think we've struck the wrong "and." Should have been if we left the lowercase a, it would.
Would it be capitalized then? Would it be capitalized? Okay. The other question I had was over on page 1. One of the first restrictions on it is Roman numeral 1. Such prescription drugs are prescribed for complex, chronic, terminal, or rare conditions. Are those defined elsewhere in the code, or are we leaving some ambiguity there?
Yeah, and Representative Dixon, I think if you look at that in conjunction with lines 25 and 26 on page 1, it kind of works hand in hand. Actually, lines 23 through 26, that little 3. High monetary cost, short life, special manufacturer, limited availability of distribution, and not generally carried in the regular inventories of retail. That's the whole point of driving this bill, that it's those types of drugs that
Right, yeah, there are a number of confining requirements there. I just want to make sure that we weren't opening it up to some ambiguity there.
Okay. Very good. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm open for a motion. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I would like to make a motion to do pass House Committee substitute to SB 178. Is that right?
Okay. Have a
That's what
motion
we're
and
working
a
off of,
second
right?
for due
That
pay.
is what we're working off of, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion on the bill? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Bill, House Committee on Regulated Industries substitute goes out with the due pass recommendation, Senate Bill 178. Okay, I think we have an author here this morning that I saw, and Senator Grant, are you here? We're pleased to recognize you to present a Senate Committee on Regulated Industries offer the following substitute to Senate Bill 424. You're recognized.
Basically a very simple bill that changes some of the provisions in reference to the State Barber Board. The Barber Board originally approached us wanting an increase in the number of apprenticeships that they have, wanted to set it at a number 3, and they also wanted to change some provisions actually raising the requirements for education to having education for barber to actually having completed the high school diploma or GED. And in conference with the Secretary of State, they felt like the education requirement was a little too stiff for the job classification of barber. And they also felt like it should be within the realm of authority of the Barber Board to be able to set the regulations and the number of apprentices and how those master barbers interact with the number of apprentices. That should be something that the Barber Board would be able to figure out a lot better than us in the legislature or those in the Secretary of State's office. And so therefore the bill that you see before you allows the State Barber Board to set by rules and regulations the apprenticeship versions or you know whatever is necessary for the apprenticeship. And there is a small clarification there on some of the age requirements for a barber. But if there are any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. I don't have a copy of the bill in front of me, but if there are questions, I'll try to get one and answer them, you know, in particular.
Senator, this comes to us as to you as a request from the board.
It came to us as a request from the Barber Board. The Secretary of State's office became involved in it, and through negotiations between the Barbers Board, myself, and the Secretary of State's office, is the version that you see in front of you is, you know, how that came about.
So everybody's on board as far as
everybody's on board.
What about in the barbers themselves? Have we heard from them? Is this something that they're interested in, or?
Well, the chairman of the Barbers Board is a barber, and he's the one that actually brought this to my attention. So I'm assuming that the barber board has had conversation with the barbers. I do know that the barbers do want to increase the number of apprenticeships. I have heard that. This would allow that to happen, but within the guidelines that the barber board specifies.
Okay. Any other questions? Question? Okay. Representative Freeman.
Senator, are you a barber?
No, sir, I'm not.
Do you see a barber?
Not very often.
Do you have a conflict of interest?
No, sir, I do not.
No, thank you, Senator.
Okay. Does anyone from the audience like to speak on this bill? If not, I'll entertain a motion. There's been a motion, a second, for a due pass recommendation on House Substitute to Senate Bill 424. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Goes out with a due pass recommendation.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator.
Chairman and members of the committee.
Any further business to come before the committee, since this will be our last meeting in this session? And I want to express my appreciation to the members who've done a good job, and if no further business, we'll stand adjourned.